Hey guys, what's going on? This is one of the episode of Make.com Mastery. So if you guys missed any previous videos in the series, make sure you watch that before continuing to the rest of this video. You can find the previous video in this corner here. So guys, today we are going to talk about routers, filters, as well as scheduling the scenario along with an example. Now let's look into routers. You would have heard a lot about Wi-Fi routers. Router in Make also functions in a similar fashion. Here the router takes the data and branches into separate paths. So wait right there. So basically a router takes the data and share it into different paths so that it can reach different modules. Normally a module can send data to only another module. We cannot branch it. In order for the data to be sent to multiple modules, we are using these routers. So now let's understand how you can add the router into your workflow. You can do it in three different ways. First one is you go back to your old scenario that we have discussed in the last session. So between the path you can right click on it and there is an option to add a router here. Okay. So in this manner you can add a router. Second option is to use the flow control here in the scenario tab. Go here and inside that you can search and find the router. So just click on it and you can place the router and you can connect the router like this. Okay. If you want to add more modules to it, just hover over the router and you can see a plus button here. So just click on this. Tada, you can see the second arm pops up. So the third way of adding a router is clicking on this plus button here and search for flow control. Inside the flow control, we can find the router. So now you know what is a router and how you can add a router. So now let's discuss about filter. So I hope most of your home will be having a water filter. So what it does, we only need the water and the filter helps us remove the bacteria as well as other foreign substances. So in a similar fashion, in Make, the filter let us block the unwanted data entering into our workflow. So I hope that example made it very clear. So in order for the Make to operate on these data that is incoming, we have different types of operators depending on the type of data. It is a very simple concept, so listen to me very carefully. Incoming data could be of any different type. Let's say it could be a date, it could be a numeric data, it could be a text data, or it could be some other form of data, whatever it is. So you understood there are different types of data that can pass through a path. So why this is coming, depending on the data, we need to use certain type of operators. So in filters, mainly there are like 4 operators. Advanced ones as usual we'll discuss later. So the first is the basic operator, next one is the text operator, the third one is the numeric operator, and the fourth one is the datetime operator. The names are pretty much self-explanatory, but I will give you more clarity right now. So the basic operator, it will just check whether it exists or does not exist in the data. That's it. So the text operator has a lot of different options here. Whether the text start with the particular word, or whether the incoming text contains this word, or it ends with this word, or whether it can be case sensitive or not case sensitive. Multiple operations are possible using the text operator. So the next one is the numeric operator. It is very much commonly used. That is greater than or equal to is there, greater than is there, less than is there, equal is there, and the datetime operators. So let's say you are running an e-commerce store and we want to collect the order from 5 p.m. to morning 9 a.m. that is off of the working hours of the company. So such cases we can use the datetime operator. So whenever the data is coming, it will have a timestamp associated with it. So the timestamp can be used to check whether it is within this 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. time frame. If it is within that, it can pass the data to the next module or wherever we are transferring the data. So that is pretty much clear right now. So you are hearing data in, data out, a lot of different types of data you are hearing right now. But if you think a little, you might get confused. So let's make a distinction. In Make, the data coming from a module is called a bundle. Okay. So inside this bundle, we'll have different types of data. Date will be there, time will be there, text data will be there, numeric data will be there. So multiple types of data constitutes a bundle. So for example, in this weather module, so there are a lot of variables like temperature, status, sunrise, sunset, etc. So all these data constitutes a bundle. So now let's put all of this together. So now let's go to Google Sheets. So let's quickly add two sheets here, okay? So there is a plus button here. You can add the sheet 2 and we can just rename it as temperature greater than 18. And we can add another sheet as, so this is the Logic AI test case 1. So what we are going to do, we are going to clone this one. So there is an option to clone the exact scenario using this drop down button here. So just clone it and make it case 2 and enter into the scenario. So here we can see the weather module and the Google Sheet. Now we are going to add a router in between this. Now you can see a router, and to understand the concepts clearly, we are going to add another Google Sheet here. So how do we add the second Google Sheet module? So we have already learned about this. So just hover over this router and you can see a plus button there. So just click on that. You can see the next path pops up with a placeholder. So in this placeholder, we can add the next module. So just go to Google Sheets. We are going to add the add a row module. So now let's set up the module. So let's go to the Google Sheets. Because I already connected my Gmail, the connection is visible here. So if you have any doubt, just refer the last video. Just go to the spreadsheet ID, which we have to change right now. Because we are changing name to Logic AI Test 2. We have to select this. Now just select the sheet name. We have added two sheets. So the first one is the temperature greater than 18 and the temperature and status is already here. So we are going to add some more data here. We are going to delete the status, add the sunrise, sunset and the status in the fourth column, and let's click save. So this first one is set up. So let's go to the next Google Sheet. As already mentioned, the connection is already made. Just click to choose the spreadsheet file, Logic AI Test 2, and inside that we have to choose the sheet. So that is temperature less than or equal to 18. So let's take all the details here. So first is temperature. So now that is set up. Let's add a filter. So go to the path here and right click on it. There is an option to set up a filter. And here you can put any name you want. It is just a reference name. And it is always important to give proper reference names so that it is very easy for you to debug the scenario. So the condition, because we are working with the temperature here, we'll take the temperature out of the data. And you can see when you hover over the value, you can see the data type, that is the number. Temperature is in number format. So we have to use which operator, that is the numeric operator. So let's go here and change the operator. We have to select the greater than operator here and the value, that is 18. It is pretty much straightforward. So just click on this. So the first Google Sheet is set up. So you can see a symbol here, that is we have a filter in this path. So now let's set up the second filter. So we just have to left click on this. Instantly we have the filter pop up. So there are two methods to set up a filter, which I mentioned with each of these filters. If you have noticed it, it is well and good. Otherwise, let me tell you once again. So if you right click on a path, you'll be able to set up a filter, or if you just left click on the path, the filter automatically pops up. That's it. So here we have to give a label, that is temperature less than or equal to 18. So the condition is definitely the temperature here, okay? It is a number data. So we have to use numeric operator. We have to use the less than or equal to operator here. Done. And the value as well. That is 18 right now. And we can click save. Now you can see we have added two filters and labels as well is pretty much straightforward. So only when the temperature is above 18, the data is passed through this path and when the temperature is less than or equal to 18, the data has to be passed through this path. So what exactly does this scenario does? You can pause the video and try to think about it. So when we run this scenario, it takes the weather from a specified city, it goes to the router and it goes to this path first, and then it goes to the second path, and here it will check whether the temperature of this data is above 18. And only if it is true, it will dump the 4 datas we have configured here, that is the temperature, sunrise, sunset and status. And in a similar fashion, the data will go to the second path, and here it will check whether the temperature is less than or equal to 18 degree. So if that condition is satisfied, the data is dumped into this Google Sheet here. So now you would be pretty clear how to use a router and how to set up a filter as well. So now let's run the scenario here. So in the weather module, we have given the city as Chemnitz as in the old example, and we have pressed the save button here, and we'll just run the scenario using the run once button here. As you can see, 1 is here and it has gone like this. It has gone and checked into this, and in the filter you can see a number there, that is 1, because the data is being passed to that filter, and in this filter you can see the number 0 because it did not pass through the filter, which means the temperature is above 18 degrees centigrade, and it has dumped into this Google Sheets. So let's go and check our Google Sheets. Now you can see the temperature here, that is 19.99, because the temperature is above 18 degrees. So you would have understood all the things related to the scenario here. So now let's understand how to schedule this scenario, which is a very important part. Here you can see something like every 15 minutes. Just click on this. Inside this, there is a lot of options like at regular intervals, once every day, days of the week, days of the month, a lot of things like this are there. So this is how you can set up the scheduling of the scenario here. So let me give you some context here regarding the scheduling. So let's say if you have made a scenario where you can clean your Google Drive on a regular basis. So you don't need to clean your Google Drive all day, every day. You just need to clean it once in a week. So the scheduling time will be once in every week. So similarly, let's say you are working with the Google Forms. You need to collect a lot of data from the customers or someone who is filling out the form. So we have to get the data quickly. So in such cases, we have to schedule the scenario every 15 minutes or so that we get all the data as soon as possible. So that is scheduling for you guys. So I hope you understood what is a router, what are filters, how you can set up a router, how you can set up a filter, and what is the basics of scheduling. So now let's wrap up this session here. If you find this content valuable, hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down your questions or share what you think about the video right now.